So let's look at the intermediate value problem. The question is, we've got x minus 2 to the power of minus x is equal to 0. Find the intervals containing a solution. So in this case, we don't have an existing interval, and they don't specifically ask us to apply the intermediate value problem. But we know that for the intermediate value problem, as we've seen in the previous video, is if we've got a value, let's take an example, between a and b, and a is less than f of a is less than 0, and f of b is greater than 0, there will be a value c in between these two that will be f of c is then equal to 0. This is the intermediate value problem. So now we want to determine what's the solution to this. So determine what the intervals would be where there will be any solution. So there's certain tricks that you can learn with different types of questions. So we've got an exponential function here that says 2 to the power of minus x. So in this case, we know that if you look at an exponential graph, we know that 2 to the power of 1 or 2 to the power of half minus 1, so half to the power of x, would always go through the value of 1. So we know we can try and substitute 0 and 1. So 0 and 1 is always a good estimate. And remember, we can always use an estimate and then check if this or this interval will work. If it doesn't work, we can always use something else, try something else. So if you know the graphs, it will help, but we don't necessarily need to know what the graph looks like. So let's look at this example and let's try. So we must substitute 1 into this equation, and we must substitute 0 into this equation. One must be greater than 0, another one must be less than 0. If we substitute 1 into this equation, we get 1 minus 2 to the power of minus 1, which would be 1 minus half, which would be 1, so this is greater than 0. If we substitute 0, and then we will say that we have 0 minus 2 to the power of minus 0. And we know 2 to the power of minus 0 basically means minus 1 over 2 to the power of 0. And we know 2 to the power of 0 is 1, so this will be minus 1. So this is less than 0. So now we've proven that there exists a value, c, that is between 1 and 0, so that f of c would be equal to 0. So we've proven that there is a value. So our interval in this case for the solution is then between 0 and 1. Sorry, we don't never say between 1 and 0. It's always from the least value to the greatest value. So it will be from 0 to 1.